Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Jack, Conrad, 45 week 16. This is way too fast. We just wrapped up week 15 today, and in 12 hours, we've got week 16 hours, we've got week 16. 3 matches start tomorrow. First up, Crystal Palace and Leicester. Leicester love playing away. Crystal Palace, I had tapped for relegation. They've overperformed thus far, and maybe now they are falling back into where we expected them to be. I don't know that they'll be a relegation team. There are teams that are truly terrible at the bottom of the table. I don't think they're going to get there, but Palace look like Gary Cahill will not be back. Otherwise, they look like they're in good shape. They will be doing some rotation. They're going to have to with just 48 hours on the spin. Brendan Rodgers, still no Kaglar Soyuncu. It doesn't sound like he's going to be able to be back, but he's also said that he's going to have to rotate.
I mean, everyone has to rotate because
this is nuts.
What's so confusing to me is the difference in rotation times for teams. Is look at Liverpool. So they had about 8 days between Saturday, Sunday, and they have Sunday, Wednesday, versus teams have Saturday, Monday. I'm not saying Liverpool should have Sunday, Monday and just be punished, but it's interesting that some teams have 48 hours, some teams have an extra day, and even in some matches it's inconsistent. I believe both sides played on Saturday, so it's not a case of anyone has an advantage here, but it's definitely a juggling match to make sure your players are fit for these matches. Based on current form, 10 goals, 0 goals for Palace against. And Leicester have had some decent results in the most recent ones. Again, a good draw against Man United, a great win away at Spurs, and you mentioned it in our review. They have great away form. So if I had to pick a side to kind of dominate this one, I would definitely say Leicester.
They're in better shape, I think.
With Maddison back fit, they're able to control matches a lot more. Him, Tielemans, and Didi are some of the best midfielders in the entire league. So if he's fit, if he's healthy, they're able to control matches versus having to be a side that gets out on the break with a lot of reliance. So I expect this one to be definitely in favor of Leicester. That being said, Palace have a chance to redeem themselves. I think if they just have a bit more defensive shape against a side who isn't as attackingly potent, maybe, as Liverpool and Villa.
We've talked about it with what Palace have some bright spots, absolute bright spots in that club, but they can't get enough to the front of Benteke. I mean, they've been great with the two up front, with Benteke and Zaha up front. Mm-hmm. They've been much, much better having, I think it's really allowed Zaha to be a better player, become the player that he really is, with the talent that he has. Eze, not quite enough, too young. They just don't have enough to feed those guys. I think this could get, I said this again about the Chelsea Arsenal.
Every time you say it could get ugly, it just ends up being the opposite.
Leicester will take the 3 here. I don't think they're going to be too troubled by this match. Second match of the day, Chelsea and Aston Villa, probably the pick of the entire week, I would say. Chelsea pick a bad time to go and play Aston Villa. Granted, it's a home, but Villa are playing fantastic. Chelsea have been inconsistent. We thought they had their defensive woes solved, and they give up 3 against a struggling Arsenal club that have been really having a hard time with
winning games, scoring goals, everything that you could say you need to do in a football match. They were bad at.
So again, heavy rotation on the way here. Chelsea certainly have far more depth and are able to do much, but they're still without Ziyech and others. So, they don't have the players that they would rotate in aren't on form. You're going to sit Werner regardless of whether it's a 2-day spin just because he's been terrible.
Yeah. Hudson-Odoi needs to play. Pulisic, if healthy, needs to play. Abraham has been one of the better players for you. Needs to play. I'd like to see a 4-4-2 personally with Giroud and Abraham. I'd be interested to see how that plays out. Bench Werner. He's a great player, world-class player on his day. One of the best goal scorers last season. He's struggling to adapt to England. There's a lot of people mocking him on Twitter, saying that the raindrops are heavier in England. That's a fake quote attributed to him. They like to mock him because he's made a bit of a difficult transition to England. He's a great player. Him and Havertz will make good
They'll
eventually.
Be fine at some point.
But right now, they've been very bad. I definitely think Villa are favored for this match, which I would not have expected to say beginning of the year. Where did we have them? You had them in 16th. I had them in 17th in our preseason predictions. I have these here for every episode, reminded of how badly we saw things going for some clubs. Villa have been phenomenal. One of the best defensive teams in all of England. Create chances like nobody else.
On 25 points.
I'm interested if an over-reliance on Grealish makes him a bit injury-prone. not injury prone, but maybe just a poor
He's
performance.
A tank.
But his legs
man.
are ridiculous. Like, you just look at them and you're like, man, if I kicked him in the leg, I would hurt my foot. He's an incredibly talented player. Watkins is playing out of his life right now, out of his mind right now, form of his life. That's the
just other than being able to just finish. He's had some bad luck.
Exactly.
But I think Grealish is cut from the same cloth as Bruno Fernandes, right? They're just freaks of nature who, knock on wood,
stay healthy.
Stay healthy.
Yes, this is gonna be a great one. I really don't know which way it's gonna go because it's a need for a statement from Chelsea, and I mentioned it in the review. We had a very lengthy discussion about Chelsea and Arsenal, and I said that if Chelsea lose this match at home, I would maybe not like to see Lampard get sacked, but it'd be very justified. Very, very justified if you have the sack. Because if they lose that match, they'd be 7-4-5 in a season where there is no clear frontrunner in the title race. Yes, Liverpool are great and they've been injury prone, but point numbers, they are still only 7 off the title, off of first, 15 games in. So much available for you to take if you just get results, and Lampard has not been getting results. That being said, he's still manager until he's fired. Got to get this result.
Yeah, I don't think
this is a must-win, in my opinion, if you're Chelsea. Same goes for Villa. Do you want to be a team that is Premier League safe, or do you want to be a team that actually makes a push this year, like a Burnley of the past, like a Southampton of the past, like a Leicester of the past, where you make a push into the top 6, top 7? They definitely have it in them. They have the talent there.
More talented than those. Maybe not as talented as Leicester when they won in 15, but that was just...
Or even Leicester last year. This is one of the better sides in the league. And Chelsea have not been a side above 10th. We say it every time. We beat that dead horse over and over and over again. They need to win this game, or Lampard might have to go. Villa need to win this game if you want to prove that you belong with the big boys.
First of 4 really tough matches for Villa. We talked about it in the review show. They've also got United in the mix there, Spurs in the mix there, and then Wolves. I mean,
that's tough. But on the contrary, imagine they get 12 points from that. It's probably a lot to ask for, especially with such a quick turnaround of matches, but they'll look at this and say, we are in our richest vein of form all season, and we're facing our toughest competition, 6-point after 6-pointer for these top place positions in the league. I think they definitely got a chance to make a real statement. First one, though, one match at a time at Chelsea.
Next up, third match for tomorrow, Everton home to Man City.
This is another great one.
Everton have won now 4 in a row. They've got wins over... So they beat Chelsea 1-0. They beat Leicester 2-0. They beat Arsenal 2-1. That was Arsenal, bad Arsenal. And then Sheffield United 1-0. And everybody beats Sheffield United except for the 2 teams they've drawn. And then City can't score, right? They've been very solid defensively. So, again, I think this is one of those binary results, 1-0, 1-1, 0-1. And I would probably tip, I don't know.
First and second best informed teams. Everton's last 5 games, they've picked up 13 points. No side's picked up more. And second in that is obviously going to be a side like Man City, who have got 3 wins, 2 draws, 11 points in their last out of 15 available.
Coming against Newcastle,
this is
Southampton.
Not going to be easy for Man City. Not going to be easy. They're not scoring and converting chances at the rate they want to be. They're going to play De Bruyne because they need to. They might start Aguero. Huge deal for them. If they start Aguero, heavy favorites in my opinion. Everton are still out with a lot of injuries. Against Sheffield United, they weren't at their best or highest level. They were not able to create chances at a rate that they would be comfortable with. And they obviously were only able to score 1 against the Sheffield United team who aren't that great. And in terms of the XG, Sheffield United got done by the XG again, 1.13 to 0.6 for Everton, who ended up winning the match 1-0 away. I think that Everton's placement in the table is not a false image, or they're definitely overperforming. And I think
are they the second best club in England?
Not in the slightest. They are the second best club in England. I think this is going to be a win for City. If not, title charge is over for Man City.
For City,
if they don't,
you're going to put him on the firing line too.
Not going to fire Guardiola, but if they don't win this match against Everton, I think any reasonable idea of a title race,
I think it's too early.
Is over.
Season, I think the season is way too unpredictable.
If you were defeated,
you'd be Liverpool. They're playing Newcastle. If they
assume they win, 9 points clear game in hand.
On 26.
It's not about the points they're behind right now. It's about the underperforming all season long. It's obviously way too premature to make a definitive statement. But will they though? Do they? Will the board? Yes, they have
a striker.
Yes, they have money to burn, but they also are. Why did they have that much money? Because they're businessmen. They make smart decisions. Is it a smart decision to continue to believe in Guardiola if he cannot beat Everton away? If you can't beat Everton away,
Everton away right now are tough.
I'm not saying that they're going to fire him. They gave him a new 2-year
playing
deal.
Ancelotti, who understands how to prepare sides for big matches.
You're using a lot of words to say it's Everton away. And you've had dominance against Everton, even away, in many recent
Everton
matches.
will be without Richarlison, who's still going through concussion protocol. Alon and Luca Digne still out also.
Yeah.
And who knows what's going to happen with James Rodriguez, whether he's going to be able to feature.
I think Man City must win for them. For Everton, I'm not saying that they are going to coast, but it's like a case of we are doing very well this year. This is a project. If they want to meaningfully challenge for the top 6, 7 places, you want to get good results like this. On the flip side, I've kind of been a bit harsh on Everton, saying that they kind of have no chance of missing them.
Well, are they as good as? Do they think they're as good as their record says they are?
Of course they do.
Do they have that kind of confidence?
But if they win this match, right, and they go level with Liverpool before their match, they will be saying that we've won 5 of our last 5 against Arsenal, against Man City. So they could make a serious statement that we belong in this title race. They drew 2-2 with Liverpool. We could talk for ages about what should have happened in that match. They've got some great results this year. Some poor ones as well, but who hasn't had bad results this year? In terms of, we talk about 15-16, when it was just a down year for everybody before we had some dominance from Man City and Chelsea the years after, and then Liverpool most recently. There is a void, and someone has to win the league. Win this kind of match for Everton, and you can believe. And I think it'd be fascinating to see a title race on Merseyside, because those clubs hate each other. And you know what? Everton are talented. Liverpool are very talented. And Liverpool have much more depth. They have continental challenges as well versus Everton. They don't. So it's going to be fascinating. If there were a time
for a club like Everton who's, to your point, not the second best club in England, but you don't have to be. You need to get results. And the results that they've gotten, Chelsea, Leicester,
when you look at a league table,
Arsenal, Sheffield United.
Even a league table at 15 matches in, 16 after this one, you can't draw conclusions. You can't even draw conclusions after a 38-match season because there's just so much variance that can happen.
Yeah,
so much luck that is involved in the sport of football. And this is going to be a fascinating one. I think if one of these sides can pull out the 3 points, it will be such a serious momentum change that at the end of the year, come May, we'll look at this match and say that was the moment where X happened or Y happened. Did Everton actually make a meaningful push and finish in the top 4 after they beat Man City?
Or did they get smoked 4-0?
That wouldn't be the worst result ever because you kind of almost expect it. But there's a quiet optimism for Everton.
And if there's a time to beat City, it's right now.
If you convert your chances, get it up to Calvert-Lewin, you're effective defensively. I don't know. Maybe we're using a lot of words to say that Man City are really just going to kind of show up with De Bruyne and Aguero and kind of say, oh, yeah, we're the second best team in England again. Who's really to say? But, man, I mean, we were talking about how we were going to preview these matches. I mean, just the Monday games. Like, all 3 of those are just mouth-watering. And they're all at different times, I believe. So that's just going to be able to
it's going to be a good day.
Sit there, watch the games for about, 7 hours. It's going to be...
Well, now you got me curious. So they're God, these are in English. The England Times, not going to read it.
Yeah, it's going to be a great match. We have for days about it, but
so
I think
have Everton or you have City. I see it 1-1.
I think a draw is very favorable, but I think Everton win it.
Oh,
I think Everton win
I'm
it.
not ready to say that.
And then Liverpool, Everton title race. 2021 is going to be weirder than 2020.
We shall see. Hopefully healthier.
Hopefully healthier.
Let's stay there.
Let's make it weirder though.
Weird is fine as long as it involves less pandemic.
Exactly.
100% less pandemic. Jack, Conrad, this has been the 45 Week 16 first 3 matches. We will take a look at the next 7 matches here in the coming days.
A lot of content.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think in the comments. Look for us on the Twitter at the 45. Take care now.